Christmas Day and the possibility it was no accident. Onlookers watched in horror as the Azerbaijani plane, you see it here, bent, then crashed in a fiery ball, leaving 38 people dead, while remarkably, 29 others survived. Video from inside the cabin shows oxygen masks deployed moments before the crash. The plane was on its way to Grozny in Chechnya, but was diverted to an airport nearby in another country after declaring an emergency just before the crash. Russian aviation authorities initially said it was likely the plane struck a flock of birds. But a U.S. official says it may have been hit by Russian air defense systems. A top Russian official is warning against early speculation with the investigation in its infancy. But tonight, questions
Buller hit the airplane 20 times.
on whether it was shot down. It's where we begin tonight with NBC's Steve Patterson.
Tonight, speculation and skepticism swirling over the skies of
Yo,
Kazakhstan. As a mounting chorus of aviation experts and government officials, supported by new video of the wreckage, questioning what really happened. Moments after the crash, a shell-shock survivor miraculously stumbling out of the plane's wreckage, while stunning video from inside the plane.
That's not
as it
nice,
was still in
Russia.
the air shows people calm, even after oxygen masks dropped. The flight took off from Baku, Azerbaijan early Wednesday, heading to the Chechen capital of Grozny in southern Russia. Russian officials saying the aircraft was diverted due to fog and blaming the crash on an apparent bird strike. But enhanced video shows what experts say appears to be shrapnel damage. Aviation expert Matthew Borey reviewed the footage.
If there was a bird strike, the presence of shrapnel inside the aircraft wouldn't be a factor, and
That's
the
the
damage to
evidence.
the exterior of the aircraft would appear much different. The flight was likely shot down by a Russian air defense system of unspecified type and variant.
The flight was in a region with significant military activity, and just 70 miles away on the same day, a Ukrainian drone was shot down, sparking this fire at a mall. The crash comes after a Dutch court recently concluded that a Malaysian Airlines flight was brought down in 2014 over Ukraine by a missile fired by pro-Russian fighters. Tonight, a U.S. official telling NBC News there are early indications the craft may have been hit by a Russian anti-aircraft system, adding more evidence of Russian recklessness in the war with Ukraine. The Kremlin responding that it would be incorrect to make any hypothesis before the investigation comes to conclusions. Meanwhile, a day of mourning in Azerbaijan. Red roses laid for the fallen.
So, Steve, with questions about whether this plane was shot down or not, where does the crash investigation stand tonight?
Yeah, Tom, NATO is calling for a full investigation into the cause of the crash, but Kazakh officials say their investigation is already underway, with representatives from the airline's manufacturer expected to arrive on scene tomorrow. Tom?
All right, Steve Patterson leading us off tonight. Back here at home, we are tracking a series of winter storms across the West, and this just in, reported tornadoes on the ground across the Houston metro area. Dana Griffin is covering it all for us tonight. Dana, what more do we know about this dangerous weather?
Well, Tom, we know late this afternoon, several twisters caught on camera touching down in Texas, and overnight, another system expected to slam the Pacific Northwest, bringing more rain and snow.
That is insane.
Tonight, multiple reported tornadoes in Texas.
There goes.
This one touching down 70 miles southwest of Houston. A driver captures this stunning funnel on camera. Wharton County officials say there's no major damage or injuries reported yet. Northwest of Dayton, Texas, this reported twister spinning through fields.
It's right next to that highway.
Heavy rain and widespread flooding creating a post-Christmas travel challenge. Snarling ground and air traffic across the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Hundreds of flights delayed and canceled. Today, millions are under severe storm risks in the southern plains. In the Pacific Northwest, communities bracing for wind, rain, and snowy conditions as another atmospheric river takes aim at the region. Some parts of the Sierra saw 8 inches of snow. Crews clearing roads as holiday travelers return home.
It came in hard and fast, actually. We had a lot of holiday traffic.
And in Northern California, where part of the Santa Cruz Wharf plunged into the ocean, the restroom is now sitting on the beach, where onlookers turned it into a Christmas Day spectacle, taking selfies ahead of another high surf warning as we head into the weekend. Dana Griffin, NBC News.
We are learning more tonight about yet another case of an airplane stowaway. Delta turning around one of its planes on a Seattle runway after determining a passenger somehow boarded with no ticket. Here's Morgan Chesney.
Tonight at Seattle's SeaTac Airport, federal investigators poring over security protocol after someone snuck on a Delta flight bound for Hawaii without a boarding pass. Port of Seattle police dispatching officers to a gate on Christmas Eve after the Delta flight crew discovered an unidentified passenger turning the plane around just before takeoff. Delta stating their staff followed procedures to have an unticketed passenger removed from the flight and then apprehended. Tonight, TSA confirming the individual did go through standard screening and did not possess any prohibited items, but then bypassed the identity verification and boarding status stations, somehow getting on the plane without a boarding pass. The incident happened on the same day that crews in Maui found a body inside the wheel well of a United flight that had traveled from Chicago. And over Thanksgiving, authorities say Svetlana Dali now faces federal charges after sneaking past security checkpoints at JFK to board a Delta flight to Paris with no passport or ticket.
That's concerning.
Former TSA Safety Director Keith Jeffries tells NBC News no security system is perfect. Do these incidents as a whole raise new security questions?
First of all, I will tell you that anytime someone passes the ticket document checker location without being properly checked, that's a concern for TSA. It's happened way too many times in a short period of time.
And Morgan joins us now live in studio. So, Morgan, let's go back to that stowaway who tried to fly to Hawaii. Where does that investigation stand?
Yeah, Tom, the TSA has already opened an independent review here, and they've also opened a civil case against this individual. That's standard procedure anytime TSA regulations have been broken, and that remains the heart of this ongoing investigation here. Tom?
All right, Morgan, we thank you for that. We want to turn out new information about the plans by the incoming Trump administration to crack down on undocumented migrants. In an interview with NBC News, the man tapped to become the new border czar, Tom Homan, explained a battle could be shaping up between federal and local authorities. Here's Sam Brock.
Tonight, the impending clash between the incoming administration and sanctuary cities looks closer to combustion after San Diego's Board of Supervisors approved a measure requiring the feds obtain a judicial warrant for undocumented migrants already in their jails.
Bottom line is, I'm shocked at what San Diego did. And bottom line, we're still coming to San Diego and do our job. Look, it's more difficult, but we're still doing it.
Thomas Homan is President-elect Trump's border czar and the former director of ICE. You see San Diego's recent actions as having no legal muster, and you're just going to move right through that?
I think San Diego's legal action is going to will be in the litigation.
It's the latest salvo in a showdown over immigration policy that also affects cities like San Francisco, Chicago, and New York.
It's unfathomable to hear that the incoming administration wants to devastate over 20 million American families in this country who live in mixed status households.
Murad Awauda is president of the New York Immigration Coalition. He's also concerned that Trump's controversial family detention policy may be back on the table.
People need to understand it's not in we say detention, but it's not in a jail setting. This is actually an open air campus family type facility that is open air, right? So we're not talking about razor wire and a penal institution, things like that, to have child care, to have education and programs.
There is no such thing as a soft detention site. There's no humane way of detaining children in prisons, because that's what it ends up becoming, even if it's a tent structure.
President-elect Trump has promised deportation on a mass scale starting as soon as he steps into office, as concerns over family separations remain high. Do you worry that you will actually be separating children from their parents and punishing children for the actions of their parents?
Our plan, we have no plan to separate children from parents. The parents will have to make a decision. That's parenting 101. I'm going to say it again. If you choose to have a child here in the United States while you know you're here illegally and you know you're on a court order to deport, that's on you.
A 2023 consent decree between the Biden Department of Justice and the ACLU banned family separations for 8 years. Do you believe the decree needs to be re-examined?
I think, yeah, we need to re-examine that, see if it makes sense from a national security perspective.
Homan also said a decades-old agreement that prohibits the detention of children for more than 20 days needs to be looked at again and potentially relitigated. Tom?
Sam Brock with that new